shocking, some are disturbing, but a few are so strange, they sound like fiction. This is the story of a bank robbery that ended in a public execution. A bomb locked around a man's neck, a trail of clues designed like a twisted game, and a case that left investigators asking one question: was this a robbery or something far darker? The day it happened, on a quiet afternoon in 2003 in Erie, Pennsylvania, a man walked into a bank. His name was Brian Wells. He wasn't wearing a mask. He wasn't acting nervous. Around his neck was a metal collar, attached to what appeared to be a bomb. Brian calmly handed the teller a note. It demanded money, but this was no ordinary robbery. The note claimed the bomb was real, and that Brian had been forced to do this. The arrest police quickly surrounded the area. Brian was stopped just minutes after leaving the bank. He told officers something chilling. He said the bomb around his neck would explode, and that he was part of a scavenger hunt. He claimed he had instructions, clues, timed steps he was supposed to follow, and that he was running out of time. The explosion. As officers debated what to do, time slipped away. Bomb squads were called, but they were too far. Brian sat on the pavement, begging for help, trying to explain the rules of the game he said he was trapped in. Then, without warning, the bomb exploded. Brian Wells was killed instantly. The robbery had turned into a public execution. The aftermath. America watched in disbelief. How could someone be forced to rob a bank with a bomb locked around their neck? Who built the device? Who planned this? And why? Investigators soon discovered something disturbing. The bomb was real, complex, designed not to be removed easily. This wasn't a prank. This was planned. The scavenger hunt. Near Brian's body, police found handwritten notes. They described a series of clues, locations, riddles, like a deadly treasure hunt. The instructions promised that if Brian followed every step correctly, the bomb would be removed. But investigators quickly realized something horrifying. The timeline made survival impossible. The game was rigged. Brian was never meant to live. The suspects. The trail led police to a small group of people connected through drugs, manipulation, and greed. At the center was Marjorie Deal Armstrong, a woman with a history of violence, deception, and control. Authorities believe she helped plan the robbery, design the bomb plot, and manipulate Brian into carrying it out. Others were involved too, each playing a role, each pointing fingers. Was Brian Wells a victim? This became the most debated question of the case. Some believed Brian was an innocent victim, trapped and used. Others argued he may have known more than he admitted. But one fact remains clear: the bomb was locked, the plan was fatal, and Brian Wells died in terror, with no way out. The trial and truth years later, the truth came out piece by piece. Marjorie Deal Armstrong was convicted. She was sentenced to life in prison. Investigators concluded that the robbery was never about the money. It was about control, manipulation, and a plan that spiraled into murder. Why this case still haunts America. The collar bomber case remains one of the most disturbing crimes in U.S. history, not because of how much money was stolen, but because of how carefully cruelty was designed. A man turned into a pawn, a bomb turned into a leash, and a robbery turned into an execution. Powerful ending. This case reminds us that the most terrifying crimes don't always come from chaos. Sometimes they come from planning, and from a question that still lingers today. Was Brian Wells just a victim of evil, or a man caught too late in a game designed for his death? Fade out.